Morning, everybody. We'll get started in just a minute here. What's up, Derek? Good to see you, buddy. All right, there's my co-host, illustrious Ghostcam. Morning, everybody. There's our guest, illustrious Stacy's. Welcome, everybody. We'll get started in just a couple minutes. Happy Wax Wednesday to y'all. Thanks for coming to hang out with us. There we go. All right. Good morning, Ghostcam.
Hey, it's already evening for me. I just hopped off work and Stacy's!
Let's go ahead and bring Stacy's up. Send over a speaker invite, Stacy. See if you can take that, or I can resend it. There we go. I think that worked. Stacy's welcome. Do you want to do a quick mic check, and then we'll go and kick off?
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, bitchin'. Let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, Wax Blockchain. Thank you for joining us, hanging out with us today. Welcome to this week's episode of Wax Spaces on X. I am Tommy from Wax, back in the office and recharged for the rest of our summer season. Today, I am joined by my lovely co-host, Ghostcam, who has really been the kind of impetus driving force for kind of the recent uptick in the Wax art theme space you've been seeing here on X. So, everyone, thank you all for joining. Let me go ahead and hand off to Ghostcam to introduce our guest, Stacy's, who's come and join us today. Ghostcam?
So, hi, thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting the Wax Space. I hijacked it for an artsy theme again. And this time we have like a living legend as guest speaker. Stacy's is around in the NFT space like forever. She launched her like first PFP collection in March 2021, if I remember it correctly. She was rocked. She did it again and like sold out 3 complete collections with an absolute unique style. Honeys were able to generate like 21 million of trading volume. If I like have it or 21 ETH, I don't have it exactly in mind right now. I totally lost my notes. I will find them again. And yeah, I'm just so happy to have her because she created something unique that like endured since years. The community is still vibing. It's still evolving. The art is absolutely incredible. And yeah, it's just like awesome to see someone who like made their dream come true completely. So shout out and a huge welcome and applause for Stacy's.
Absolutely. And then just real quick before we dive into our interview with Stacy's, you know, Ghostcam wanted to make these spaces semi regularly as a way for artists on Wax to grow, to learn from each other, to make more art and have fun. So this is something, remember, this is open to all artists. If you haven't already, if you're listening below and you haven't done this already, please share the space on Twitter, tag your favorite Wax artist, and help us spread the word. And as always during our art spaces, we'd like to invite, one second. Excuse me. We'd like to invite our audience to join us up on stage. If you got a question for our guest, about the topics we're chatting about today. So go ahead and tap request, and we'll bring you up to that time. So, Ghostcam, thank you so much for giving us the background on Stacy's. And Stacy, welcome to Wax Wednesday. One thing that we kind of ask a lot of the artists when we have these spaces really kind of does contends with evolving your voice or your style. So let me ask you right up front, what type of advice would you give to an artist who's maybe starting out, trying to find their unique style or voice within the art space?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be here. Wax is a great chain, so this is great. I'm so glad to see you all doing this. This is a great question for me because I was an artist who, for a long time, like really, really struggled with finding a style. I really wanted to have one, you know. I saw all those amazing Instagram artists like posting these consistent pieces, and I just never did for a long time. I could adapt a lot of different styles, but I didn't have my own thing, and that bothered me. So I think what worked for me and might work for other people is, first focusing on really getting the fundamentals of art down, understanding anatomy and color and lighting and all those things, because that's what's going to allow you to flex into different styles and really understand how to do that well. And, once you feel like you have a good handle on that, don't put too much pressure on yourself to develop a style. But for me, it just came from, one day I drew a piece that I liked and I stuck with that and I drew it every day. And that's what was one of my collections, Honeys. And from there, I evolved it into something that was more consistently my style. I figured out this is how I like to draw eyes, this is how I like to draw a background. And for me, like if I hadn't pushed myself into doing that every day, it wouldn't have naturally evolved that way. The sections of what I drew, the style did evolve out of things I liked, other artists or media I had consumed. But if I didn't push myself to try to draw it that way for at least a while, then it probably wouldn't have happened. So that would be my advice.
So when you're thinking about the types of things that have helped you develop this identity, it definitely sounds like you just practice until you find something that you yourself are happy with, or something that you feel really kind of captures like what you. I think what you said, what really kind of struck me is like, this is how I like to draw the eyes. This is how I like to draw the backgrounds. Is this. I assume that there are no cheat codes or shortcuts when you're trying to develop your style, but is there anything? Is it just trying a whole bunch of different things till you see what you like, or is there any kind of direction that you might impart on someone who's new, depending on what types of art or illustrations they like to make?
Yeah, I think what worked best for me, just like directing the direction a little bit more rather than letting it be anything, was, looking to artists who I really admired certain pieces of their work. So, like the Etherington brothers is a great example. I love how they do their line work. And then I learned coloring from another artist who was a concept artist for video games. And so I kind of took all these pieces out of artists that I really admired the way they did it and combined it into what I was doing, which, is great because it results in a totally new thing, but it's inspired by these other areas that you already know that you like.
Solid. Perfect. I think Ghostcam. Let me hand it over to Ghostcam for the next questions. I know that one thing that I've heard about Honeys and yourself, Stacey, is that you're very strong in building a community, a strong, lasting community. So I think Ghostcam has a couple questions for that. Ghost.
Yeah, I like really, how do I start? On Ether, it's really noticeable that you have either a community who's actually strong and holding together and supporting each other and the artist constantly, or you don't have any at all. And I've like looked into, let's call it like that, looked into a few projects, and Honeys is actually the only one I stayed active in and like keep collecting, although I already have like so many and tell myself since 2 years that I shouldn't like buy more. But like, what is the secret behind like creating a community who wants to like still engage and collect after years? I mean, the closet is a like argument for itself, but people might not know it. So I'd love to hear like the secret of Stacy's behind that like incredible community you created.
Yeah, thank you for the nice compliments, Ghostcam. It's a really hard part of doing this. I think it's not natural for a lot of us artists who are like very naturally introverted sometimes to think about building a community, but I think, I don't consider myself an expert in this, but I think what worked at least a little bit for me was two main things. So the first thing is you have to first give people a product or a thing that's recurring and scalable that they can be interested in. And so like we started doing our Honey Seasons drops very early, which was the monthly art airdrop, and now they unlock items to use and like customize your own dolly or whatever, but we wanted to drop those every month because we wanted to create a feeling like people, would get on Christmas Day, that they would get to open presents and do something fun, but have it every month, right? And so we took something that we knew people would want and would like and just made it keep going so that they always had something to look forward to. Um, the second thing is just, I think, starting with your core values as a person and as a business. So obviously you need to do the basics, like give people somewhere to hang out, which in our case is the Discord. But what's a lot more important than that is figuring out personally what are your standards for how you want to treat people, how you want them to engage with each other, what you want them to get out of the experience, and making that very well known within not only your community, but like with your staff, or just making sure you're embodying it in everything you do. So, like, we wanted to create a space where people of all different backgrounds could come together, could enjoy something that they like, and would respect each other, even though they might come from different backgrounds. And we try to fit that into like even our server rules and stuff like that. And it just creates an environment that people can feel a little more comfortable in and that they'll want to bring people to. So, I think those were the 2 main things for me. I'd love to, hear your reaction to that.
The first thing that sticks out to me is that the idea of like having to decide how you want to treat people. I never would have thought of that. Personally, I'd think I would just treat people how I treat people. I never really gave it much thought. You get you get me either professional while I'm working, or you get me fun Tommy when I'm not at work. So it's just the way that I treat people is just the way I treat people. I never thought about it like that from an aspect of like, hey, let's set out and um, with decision and with intention, let's treat people a certain way when they become a part of this community. I think that's pretty cool. I think that can also help kind of bind the community together because they will take usually they'll take a cue from the leaders, from the mods who are going to be there. So I think that's pretty interesting. I never thought about it that way.
I can confirm it works. I actually can confirm it does because I did it the same way. I have to like say that like I learned a lot from how like Honey's works, how like Stacy's treats people, how she treats holders, non-holders, people who have to sell, who come back, people who like behave badly and come back, how she treats like whales, actual whales, and also people who like have a lot but don't engage a lot. It's like everyone is welcome, and I wanted to recreate this like in waifus. I have that like actually in the like chatty cat, treat everyone how you wanted to be treated. And I've learned so much of how you like interact the best way with your holders from like watching Honeys in the like high season when every day was like crazy active, in the bear season when everything was a bit like calmer, that you always had a place to like go to where you always were welcome. and where people like joined interests with you, but it wasn't only about that. It was also okay to like ask for a cake recipe or like to rant about work for an hour. And I loved that so much that I wanted to take that like over to another place. I never saw that anywhere else but in like Honeys or like Crypto Monkeys on Wax, which is like about this. So I really think the argument is incredibly valuable. Like find out how you want to treat your community, which kind of community you want to create or you would want to be part of. And I think no one did that like better than Sam, actually. I see Novix has a question.
Yeah, let's invite. Let's. I was waiting. I wanted to give you a chance to reply before we go to Novix. Novix has a question. Welcome to the stage, Novix. Go ahead and ask your question or make your comment to our guest.
Okay, so can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Network's really bad here. All right, cool. So, GM everyone, good day, Ghostcam. Good day, Stacy. Good day, Wax. Good day, Christiana, Tommy, and everyone else on the listener role. Um, I don't really have a question. I just really want to add to something Stacy said. I really understand what you said about knowing how you communicate with people. And I just want to say you can also find out the type of people your audience are or the people in your community are. Because for instance, I'm African, I'm a Nigerian, and there are certain things that someone might say in the community, or there are certain things that someone might there's a certain tone or there's a certain way a person can be communicating in a community, and I'll be like, oh wait, this is something I can vibe with as a Nigerian, something I can easily relate to. And yeah, I'll go there and I'll also want to know more about the project. I'm not gonna lie, it's something I do a lot. It's something that I've even been a victim of. People, I might just be in a community, the next thing I see some certain things that I'm like, oh wait, this thing can vibe. This is something that has been happening to us Nigerian, or this is something that we understand or we can relate to. So understanding the type of people, or understanding the area, or the understanding the geographical location of the people you're talking to, your on your community, or can also help. Many people are from different let me just say more than 90% in this space are barely Africans, because from what I can see they're barely Africans. So they're all from different countries. Some might be from India, some from Europe and other places. So there might be something that you might say in the community that I would really like as a Nigerian, and I might come to the community, but someone else who is not Nigerian might not really get what I'm saying or what you're saying. I might be like, what's even going on here? You know what? Let me just find somewhere else where I can relate to. So yeah, that's just my little contribution. Just yeah.
Let me go back on that too. Not only is like you can find something to relate to if like you've got a community of people from the same area, but maybe you meet someone from an area you're not part of, and you learn something about that culture or that person, and it helps you grow as a person, helps you grow as a community too. So it can work both ways. I think the way you mentioned it and kind of being accepting is very important to accomplish that goal. Thanks, Novix.
Sure. Roll call.
Stacey, I wanted to ask one thing that I see a lot with artists here on Wax is lots and lots of collabs. So I wanted to ask, if you're new, maybe someone doesn't know how to approach a collab, or maybe someone doesn't, maybe they're nervous and they're holding like someone on a pedestal and they're afraid to talk to them. In your opinion, what's the most effective ways for different artists to kind of collab and build connections in the space?
Yeah, this is a great question because it's such a great way to market yourself. Those connections are so important. I think where it a great place to start from is to find people that are in a similar kind of, audience size as you, or maybe a little bit higher, and just try to befriend them, like you don't have to get right into the nitty-gritty. You can talk to them, you can send them a DM and compliment what they're doing or share some things you're like. And a lot of what happened like early in NFT days was group chats. So people would just put together big group chats of artists working in NFTs, and they would all talk to each other and become friends and share and collab amongst the group, became very normal. So just, you know, you don't have to wait for someone to create that space for you. You can be that person and do that. And um, just try not to be afraid, because usually people are much more approachable than you would think. And yeah.
I like that you said don't wait for someone to create that space for you. Go out and just try to get it going. I think that's it's integral if you're trying to get something. If you're trying to get something cooking, if you're not willing to ask yourself, why should anyone else like really kind of do that for you? If you're not up to it, it's
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just, you're so right. And I actually see this in a lot of areas, especially with artists who are up and coming. Sorry. There's someone at my door. So, I see it a lot with artists who are up and coming, especially when they're wondering like why other artists might have got certain opportunities that they didn't. And this doesn't have to be just regarding collabs. Like this could be regarding, you know, gallery opportunities or just brand collaboration opportunities, anything. Like it's really, really important to just reach out and kind of get involved in stuff for yourself, or ask for the opportunities you want rather than waiting for someone to approach it for you, because they might not know who you are yet, but they might really want to know who you are once you introduce yourself.
Perfect. And then before I hand it back to Ghostcam, and she has a couple more questions also. Regarding the collaborations, are there any memorable or standout experiences you've had while collaborating with other artists that you may want to share? Maybe something funny, maybe something that struck you as important. Is there anything you'd like to share on that front?
I've had so many good collaborations. I think one of my favorites was the collaboration with the Fame Lady Society. So if you don't know the history of on Ethereum, the Fame Lady Squad was this NFT project who dropped in 2021, and then there was a big ordeal because they were they were claiming they were the first woman project ever, but they were actually just a bunch of Russian dudes. So there was a big controversy, and then Art Chick facilitated handing off the project to another group of women from the community as kind of like a community owned project. And then those people kind of did some shady stuff, rugged, and the community who loved this project were like, I'm just so sick of this. Like, we're gonna make this contract where people can choose to take their Fame Ladies, swap them over to this new contract called Fame Lady Society, and we're gonna be a truly community run project. And so when we did a collaboration together, we took a bunch of items that were in their collection and added them to our Honey's Closet, which is like our dress up app. And if you owned a Fame Lady Society token, so if you had swapped it over, then you could unlock all these items for free in the closet. And it was so much fun because I love all the people who work on that project, but it was also just really fun to like get their name out there a little bit and give them an opportunity to like get something from another collection, because they were trying to become like more well known at that time and get more people to swap over and come to what they were doing. So it was just so fun for a lot of reasons.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave the more artist, I want to say, I'll call them artist themed questions for Ghostcam here to ask. But thank you so much for answering what I've had for you so far, Stacey's. Ghostcam?
Yeah, I just like giggled a bit about the Fame Lady story. It's actually like a crazy story. I think like there have been so many like rocks out there that it's actually not funny anymore. And especially in like Wax, we have a lot of experience with that, with like projects just disappearing, people just disappearing, projects being handed over, disappearing, projects being revived, disappearing. It's like always like hit and miss thing. And there are so few like solid things. So I always found that Honey's is like a beacon of consistency, if that makes sense. It's like delivering art like constantly. It's delivering a holder experience, a community experience. It's like a full package. And Stacy's is always saying she doesn't do it alone. I mean, I know that Crypto Monkeys wouldn't work like with one person alone either. We're so big, we need like many people. We reached even a like size where it's better to have like 2 artists constantly working for it. So it's like such a struggle to like be yourself and also deliver on a like constant base, like to pop up there daily, show yourself, and like there are a billion things you are told you have to be an artist, be a community manager, be a marketing master, be a developer in the best like case, a coder if you can. That's just crazy. And I've seen Stacy's always split up the tasks to like people who are dedicated and also like actually capable to do it, and I always admired that a lot. So I'd actually like to know, was there a point when you decided that you would like to be like a full-time artist and like spend all your time on that project, like a specific point in time? I know you did for a while. So I'd like to like hear about that people might get to know that process a bit better, because I think that's a like giant step to say, okay, I'm diving full time into NFTs.
Yeah, it's a great question. I've heard a lot, Ghostcam. I think for me, my aspiration was always to be like a full-time artist or an entrepreneur in some way, even since I was a little kid. So I knew I wanted that, but I didn't go full-time in NFTs until our first large project sold out. And that was for two reasons. Obviously, I had the financial security to do so, and I also had a bunch of roadmap items that I needed to focus on and complete. So I see people jump in to NFTs full time a lot. And I think my advice is to always just like make sure that you're financially okay yourself, you're stable before you do something like that. What I tried to do was work a normal job and then work on my things after that outside of those hours, and it was really hard work for a long time. I did get very burnt out doing it, but it allowed me to be stable in what I was doing. And what that meant for the community was that my decisions weren't driven by financial urge to survive and to make money, because we all need to survive and make money. My decisions were driven by what was actually right for the community and what could foster growth in a good environment. So it was important for my own well-being, but also for the community's project and success. So my advice would be that just like make sure you're okay and you're taken care of, and before you're, making a big jump like that. And I'm not sure everyone would agree with me, but
I just thought for a moment my like sound is gone. Is it gone?
No, I don't think you're gone.
I hear
You're
you.
was
Okay, cool.
talking so you
Thank
could
you.
have a good follow up. I didn't want to trample over you, which I'm doing now. So let me give you the mic back, Ghost. We did have one person who wanted to ask a question after your response.
Thank you. So yeah, I've like sorry, Riles. I really like I admire you so much for like being so brave to do this. And I also want to say thank you. That is like a really valuable advice, in my opinion. Make sure you're safe, make sure you're well. I think in the like end, it matters most that you're actually well while you're doing this, because you won't like keep doing it if you burn yourself out too fast. I mean, there is not like without a reason the saying that the candle which burns brightest burns also fastest. So thank you very much for that, Stacy. And now I'll hand over to Riles. Sorry for hijacking you.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for bringing me on. I don't have a question. I wanted to reinforce the advice that you just gave and sort of expand on it a little bit, because I've been in that position where our project had an enormous success, and I didn't have the foresight that you have, and I quit my job And then, of course, the cycle in the market continued, and it was a very difficult time that we're still sort of in for our business. So when she says to make sure that you have the financial welfare to continue prospering if things do not go the way that you plan, that is golden advice. But on top of that, something I want to add is that everybody who is really trying to succeed in this industry is trying to offer value to people, right? And what I've noticed is that there's two kinds of value that have two very different ripple effects. The kind of value that gets pursued the most is this unspoken responsibility to make your consumers money for them, to increase the value of the assets that they pay you for, as though that is your responsibility. But if you're creating art, I don't think you're creating futures. That may just be my opinion. Whereas the other kind of value that you can create is anything that isn't making money for your consumers. It's emotional connection. It is making memories with them. It's doing things for them in creative and sometimes personal ways. And in my experience over the last several years, because I got into this in 2020, has been that if you stop making as much value as people want you to make in terms of making money for them, they will move on to the next thing that they think will make them more money. But if you do something else for them, if you connect with them, they will never forget that.
Yeah, Riles, that I totally agree with you, and that's such an important thing to understand, I think, for people who are new to this space, is that the 2021 NFT boom was not like a bunch of art lovers buying millions of dollars in art assets. That was some people, but the majority of these people were traders who were making money off of this, like it's a stock or a traditional like thing that you would trade. And that part of the industry has very much moved on from NFTs, I would say right now. And, it's a good thing because you have less people getting wrecked financially out of it, and you have more people who are just here doing it because they love the provenance and the art. But don't look at that and say to yourself, well, why did Beeple do so good in 2021 and I can't get anyone to pay attention to me? It's not you, it's how this industry has moved. And so just don't put yourself to that standard and make sure you understand that.
I'm basically like applauding in real life. That's so true and so important. So thank you, Riles, for bringing that up. Like now we want to like know more about your story, of course. So you have to come back. And yeah, I am a bit like thrown off because I was like I said, applauding in real life, basically. So back to the like artsy side for a like short moment. I really always liked the honey seasons thing. Like you said, it was like on Christmas, you always could be like super happy when you like found your gifts. I really liked that. And I like to make gifts like in general. I've noticed that people appreciate that and like little surprise every now and then that doesn't like or like ask them to like spend money or you have to do this and that. And like wax is pretty cool because you have these blends and you have like packs. You can do so many different things to engage people like on a technical way. So we've had like there's actually a wax tea in the honey's closet, just saying that. And I think I still have a dupe of the pack that contains that thing. If I have and ever get access to my ledger again, because it's updating like since days, I tried all kinds of things already. It's still saying like updating 5%. If it would be 19 at least, 19. But no, it's stuck at 5. That's such an odd number. So I'd like to know how you like think honeys had an impact on your like style, on your ways as an artist. Would you say that you feel like being absolutely bound to that one style, or are there other things you would like to do? How would you like describe your way? Like, I mean, there was the big sellout, then there was another one, and you're still doing all this art for us. So I'd really like to know how you like pull inspiration for that, and how you like think it changed yourself as an artist to do that like constantly since years.
Honeys was one of the best things I ever did for myself as an artist, just because, like, it did force me to s go into the same pattern, work on it every day, and develop a style, which I wanted for so long. So I'm really, really thankful for that, and I actually love that. Now that I feel like I have a style, I'm constantly trying to fit into that because it makes me happy as an artist. And one of the challenges that I've actually been overcoming is now we're working on like the book that we're making, the illustrated book, and I'm having to do more art outside of the boundaries of kind of the traditional profile pics, so like more backgrounds, and I'm just trying to figure out like, okay, how would I draw this and all these things. So it's been a big challenge, but I love it, and I don't actually get a huge desire right now in this point of my career to do a different style just because that's been my whole life before Honeys. But, I feel like it'll happen. I feel like that'll be natural at some point. I'll just wanna try something else, you know? In the last year, I've dipped my toes into minimalist landscape painting on, like, a traditional canvas a little bit just to get something different out there, but I'm really just enjoying the consistency, which is new for me.
Yeah, consistency, crypto monkeys. Huh. Yeah, I'm like all about consistency, so I totally understand this. I actually love this like approach. Maybe that's a good advice. I think people was it who said that you should finish like one thing every day, and I think you told me that like 2 years ago, that this is like a thing to like focus on, to orient to. I really like that advice. Find something like you want to do and do it like every day again and again until you're at a point that you're like, hey, I'm like this good. I love this. Maybe that's like the best thing to take away. Just go on until you love what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because Beeble was the one who inspired me to do something every day. So that's what I did with my first collection, Stacy's. It was totally framed around people doing something every day, and I did a Stacy's every day, and it was a really big challenge to do that. But as an artist, I had been such a perfectionist for my whole life. Like I never felt like anything was good enough. I would never fill out sketchbooks because I just thought I couldn't do a good enough job. It was this internal belief that I had, and it was really holding me back because it held me back from practicing, and it held me back from putting my dreams into action and actually going out there, building a collection and building a business. Because if I had waited until each piece was good enough, I wouldn't have got one out there every day. Then I wouldn't have got better, and then I wouldn't have sold anything ever. So the best piece of advice I can put out of this is don't let that feeling hold you back. Just push forward, push it out, even if you don't think it's good enough, and keep going forward. Because that's the only way you're going to get where you want to be with your craft and with your business.
I like that you say just don't wait. Sometimes you shouldn't wait for everything to be perfect. I think sometimes you just have to pull the trigger and see what happens. Especially if you're creating something or you want to try something. If you're going to do something new, you can't just wait for everything to fall into place, because while you're waiting for everything to be perfect, the perfect market experience, the perfect art style, the perfect community, everybody else who's just grinding and building are just going to pass you by. So I think it's definitely real important to sometimes just I can think of some colloquial expressions that I won't repeat, but sometimes you just need to go, right? Just hit the button and go.
Absolutely, and look, now that I'm here, like, nobody says to me, "Oh, Stacey's, how come that drawing you did back in 2021 was kinda shitty?" Like, no, they just know what I'm doing now, and that's what matters, so it's all worth it, don't be afraid.
I think it's really cool too when you're doing something like, well, I'm sure I've said this before. When you're doing art on blockchain, you can almost have it's almost written in stone. It's an evolution, and you can look back and see how little by little you've progressed here. You started, like you said, oh, the picture was so bad, the eyes look so silly. And then it's over the time, over the months and the many different NFTs, the different versions you make, you can see it kind of slowly coalesce into something that's you and that you represent and that you're excited to bring forth and you're excited to share with the community. I think that's really important.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it's so
Jason.
true. A lot of my collectors actually have told me that they really like that as well. And I always get into like, oh, this is kind of different. Like it looks different now. Should I put it in a new collection? And people always tell me, no, 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 keep it in the same one. It's cool to see the evolution. So that's something that I still have to fight against, but people will be there to support you.
You've mentioned a couple times building a business. Is that how you see your collections, or was that something that you had initially set out to do, or did the idea of kind of treating a collection like a business, did that come maybe later?
I did not set out to do that at all, and it's really interesting that you ask this because I don't think almost any of us from 2021 set out to do that just because of the way the NFT space evolved. Like you were saying, people were just putting out art or like cool technology things, and then people really started to see it as almost like an investment that they were owed something. And what we all had to do was figure out how to fit this NFT thing that we were doing into a sustainable business model that could like hire employees and evolve long term into something and return money to people. And it was not a natural fit. It was very challenging. We tried to do it for a long time. We're still trying to do it. And so I do see it as a business, but I don't think it's a natural fit for a lot of us. I don't think I would have done it in this exact way if I could do it over.
Do you think like making that transition, or like when you start to evolve into treating it like that, do you think it takes away from the art? Do you feel like you can, as an artist, do both, or is it better, or in your experience, maybe to have? Obviously, I think we kind of talked about collabing earlier. At what point do you start to loop in the most energetic fans to help manage a community or something like that? Because doing it by yourself and doing the art to me sounds very overwhelming and would lead people to get burned out quick. At what point do you kind of pull the trigger on like, okay, I need a little bit more help here managing this, and like, how do you kind of select? Is it the favorites? Is it people you know personally? Is it just everyone you've kind of built relationships with? How do you kind of build out your perfect kit of a community team for your business?
Yeah, I think for us, we tried to come up with roles that anybody who was interested in could be involved in like a semi-formal way, and also like a compensation model that fit with what we were doing. So we had like bunny heralds, which were basically people who would be people who are naturally already getting out there talking about the project, doing spaces. And then we had people who were super active in Discord. They were always in there chatting, so those people would fit into moderator roles. So we tried to just look at what people were already wanting to do on their own and find a way to make that feel better for them by giving them an official title or compensating them in some way for it, whether that's like with extra artwork or extra perks or whatever. Because that way it's a natural fit and you're not putting extra expectations on these people when they have their own lives and their own things going on. They're just kind of getting an added benefit for something that they already enjoy.
Riles, I see you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what you think about the use of AI and as well the use of AI to sort of act as a beginning point for a piece of art, and then using artistic skill to refine it.
Yeah, Riles, really good question. I actually am a huge AI maxi. I love AI, and it's because even the reason I started NFTs, like NFTs were such a beautiful collaboration between developers who are, in my opinion, artists in their own way, and like a traditional, graphic artist like myself. Because without each other, we wouldn't be able to programmatically generate all those variations and create something cool like NFTs. And I see AI art in very much the same way. It's giving a creative, artistic voice to people who might not necessarily have that traditional skill, and I think it removes an almost air of elitism that has been a problem in the artistic community for generations. I mean, if you look back, they had academies, and only men could join, or only certain people could join, and you had to be rich. And I think that the democratization of art through AI, to people who don't have those skills is a good thing. Maybe someone has like no limbs or something like that, but now they can visualize things through speech. So I think it's great. I love it. I hope that more of my fellow artists do come around to it in the future when they see the various use cases and how it can improve their own work as well.
I love that reply. I'm a big fan of AI art myself. I think nobody. I think that's no secret. I think it's really cool, especially when you combine it, the ability to make something quick, and then with the practice and trained eye of an artist who's experienced. I think that is like really the winning combination. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. Ghostcam, do we have any other questions that you wanted to cover? Specifically about art or criticism or burnout or anything? Have we gotten everything?
That would like be my we're at 40 minutes till the end, or like I can hijack like 5 minutes of consumer breaks time probably, but not a lot more. So I'd like to know, for me, how do I say it? I've had like a hard time accepting like some aspects of AI art. I think AI is a great tool. I know people who can't read. Now they can like ask like some kind of thing to read it for them. They can ask questions and it will be repeated. I like know people who aren't like able to read anymore, but not because of not like never being taught to or never having learned how to read, but like they just can't see it anymore. Or people who have like vision problems who like may now recreate the things they would have painted many years ago through like other technologies. And I really think that's a great thing. I think what like splits the space up so much is how it is used. It's not okay to like use an AI piece and say like I painted this, I drew this. It's not true. You didn't draw it. Just say how like you made it, and then it's like fine. It's not that AI art is worse. A true AI artist, there's someone here on Twitter, her name is Natalie Shaw. She's actually doing like photography or photographic art, and she like improves it with AI and like does this since like years. There are like great artists out there. I don't want to say it's a bad thing. It's just like some people use it to cheat. I've shown a thing and I like said it. I took like 50 attempts until I got the screenshot at exactly that like 0.002 second where you see that this person had a real like a finished artwork already, and then you see them on the time lapse painting it. There are AI tools that recreate basically the process, that show you like time lapse that looks so real that you don't like see if it was actually made or not. And if these people then say, I painted this, I drew this, I created this, I have a hard time like understanding why they have to own it, if that makes sense. It doesn't like make a difference how they created it. They still created it, but it's like not cool to say I drew it. It's like not true. And I think this is what makes people go crazy about it and which creates so much hate against AI. And I don't think it's like justified. It's not the tool that's like the problem. It's the people using it. That's like my take on this like topic. So yeah, I've really had a hard time like getting to the point that I say I'm still good enough. I don't have to compare my art to these pieces. My art will always be imperfect. That's fine because I made it. And you can watch me make it. You can like talk to me. You can confuse me. You can change it by saying that looks like shit. Draw it in another way. That's like so much fun during the process. And I'll like as an artist, the process of creating is like um so much joy and fun, and it's so valuable that I wouldn't want to miss it. And I had a like hard time to overcome my like imposter syndrome and that like constant self-doubt seeing this art and trying to compare myself to it. That's like nonsense, but I had to understand it first for myself. And I would like to know, how is it for like someone who, like how Stacy said it, she has like the acknowledgement as an artist. People see her for what she's doing now, not what she did back then. By the way, I linked with the Wax Waifus account the Bunny University. That's like completely free courses she created for like how to do your, if you want to dive into ETH, how to do your collection there or on Polygon, how to look into that. There's also like blockchain technology stuff. It's like really, really cool what she provided in knowledge. So have a look into that. And if you are a creator and want to come up to the panel, I try to do this every 2 weeks. I can't hijack Tommy every time, but I'm trying to. So if you want to come up, just hit me up and we can have you on the panel. I'd really like to know, like, how do you deal with like self-criticism, Stacey's? How do you like deal with like the everyone is like showing all this awesome stuff and I'm probably not as like awesome moments? Maybe you have like a lot less of them than I do.
No, I actually have a lot of them. I always have, Ghosty. I would say like it's important to recognize that it's normal to have those thoughts because what's going to be a lot worse than having those thoughts is then criticizing yourself for it and getting stuck in this loop of like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm such a loser. Oh, why am I criticizing myself? Like, no, it's okay. It's normal. Everybody has those thoughts. If you are a person who feels like your self-esteem and your self-criticism is getting out of hand, I know this isn't like a fancy answer, but my answer is honestly just go to therapy because your self-esteem stems from a lot of like childhood experiences, your experiences in your life, things you've been telling yourself since you were a child. And the best way to fix a problem you're having is to go to a professional and get help with it. You know, it's the most efficient way to solve your problems. And a good therapist is what's going to help you with that if you're having self-esteem problems that are really impacting your life. If it's not so severe that it's like impacting your life and if you feel like you want to actually improve it, then just it's okay. Just accept that it's a moment. It comes, it passes, and you have a lot of good things to offer the world, so it's okay.
Well said.
I love this.
Very well said. I know we are getting kind of
Sorry.
close to our time. We got one more person who'd like to ask a question, and then Ghostcam, I'll throw it to you to go ahead and start closing down the space. Let's give Cod a moment. Come on up and ask your question, Cod. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, I didn't realize how close we were to the time there. I just wanted to say how much of a leader Stacey has been in my life, as far as like the compassion and the just showing the directions to take and things like that. Somebody who's always been compassionate, and I just wanted to know, Stacey's, was there somebody that kind of led you, a leader in your life, or somebody that was a somebody you looked up to that you kind of modeled after?
Oh, thanks so much for that, Claude. I really appreciate it. I've actually been fortunate enough to have so many good leaders in my life that I'm really thankful if I've retained any of it. Obviously, my mom was a big leader to me. She's a very strong woman who survived a lot of really difficult things, and she is the most empathetic person I know. She cares so much about others, and so she taught me that from a young age. I also had plenty of really amazing bosses growing up. I had a boss called Matt, and I had some bosses in even when I was a teenager that were great leaders. They taught me very early about how to be a good leader by showing empathy, by making sure you put the people first, by choosing good people with good values in your business, and then just working out the rest from there. And a lot of other really valuable lessons that I don't know if I would have gotten otherwise from just having that physical experience with them. So, yeah, there's a lot of people in my life that I have to thank for helping me just try to be a better person. And I would say mentorship is one of the most important things out there. So if you want to get better at something and you see someone who's doing a great job at it, just reach out and ask them if you can learn from them, if you can shadow them, if you can ask them questions, because that will be where all the gold mines of information are really hidden away.
I
Good
agree
question.
so much. Sorry. I agree so much. I mean, I actually did that. Like I met Soggy Apple Pie first, and I saw her OG honey, and I loved it so much that I followed her into honeys, and like here I am now. And I remember how like Stacey's was doing these streams back then on Twitch where you could watch her draw the seasons. And I didn't know they are recorded, and I also didn't know how big the audience is, and like I just waffled about crypto monkeys and banana and like everything. And it was so much fun. And I, this like one day, like changed so many things for me because suddenly there was someone who encouraged me. And then there was someone I admired who just like talked to me and like treated me like on eye level. And this was so cool that I like got a like boost from that carried me through like months. So it's super important. Find someone you admire, try to like find out what you really really like about them, and if you want to and like feel you can be like this, then just try. You can only improve because it's something you want to like be. You see it there, and it helped me like a lot through really difficult times. And I actually have to say I never had like anyone acknowledge what I like created before. When like someone asked me to do something for them, then like they expect something and they just take it and then it's done. Like as an artist you always have like a hard time a bit. And I never had that like, oh, that's cool, or like I'm proud of you, or you did a really great job. And like meeting someone I admired who then responded this way actually like empowered me to trust in like my own skills that I can reach this point. And here I am now. So everything is possible. Just go out there, try it, do it. Try it like not to approach the like fat whales when you feel like a guppy, then probably try a fish at your size. But I really like encourage you, just go out there and try. I never would have thought that I'll be here like 2 years ago, and now I am. So you like you have no idea what you're capable of doing if you don't try it.
Very well said. All right, so we are up pushing on time, so we will. I think we'll close it right here. This has been a great conversation. Stacy's, before I hand it Ghostcam, and then before we give it out, is there anything else you'd like to say? Any parting words? Maybe the best place people can follow you and learn more.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. You've been amazing hosts, and I know you're amazing people as well. Thanks to all the speakers who came up to say something. You really added value to this conversation, and thank you to everyone for listening. You know, I don't often think of myself as a person who has something valuable to offer, but I hope you got something out of today, even if it's just to know that you can do it. So just take the first step, take small steps, but you can do it.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much, Stacey, for your insights, the experience, and taking your time to come and spend with us today. We really appreciate it, and I want to thank you again. Ghostcam, do you have anything else you want to share before we close today's space and hand off to the Wax Drop space, hosted by the NFTopia team?
The same as always, like hit me up if you want to speak here. A massive thank you to like Stacey's for her insights, for all the advice, for the knowledge, for everything you do. You're really such like a shining light out there. And to everyone else, I would give the same advice I always do. The like quote I always use for closing: every artist started as an amateur.
Good advice. Well said, Ghostcam. Thank you. All right, folks. Wax Wednesdays officially begun. Before we go and break for the day, make sure that you stick around here right on X for the Wax Drop space. It'll be happening immediately. It'll be hosted by the NFTopia team. Make sure you're also checking out the Nova War tournament that's lasting until the end of this month. I'll be hanging out with Franklin on Friday to check out the update and maybe play a little Nova War myself. You should come and check it out. That'll be happening on Twitch. If you are interested in a trading card bluffing games, please also check out the Pantheon beta, which is lasting until the end of this month as well. You can check both events out inside Wax Hub at ambassador.wax.io. Finally, tune in next week where I will be joined by the lovely Christia, and we will be showcasing projects from Latin American teams, right? So I think I've already got Vulnerability Agents, which I'm really excited to see, and also the artist who created my very first PFP on Wax, which was VCAT. So come hang out with us next week. We'll see you then. Now, that's all for me. Thank you again, Ghostcam, Stacey's, Riles, Cod, and Novix for coming up and speaking and sharing your insights as well. Whether you're listening to us live or checking out the replay while driving home, we're glad to have you here. Thanks for listening. And I hope you all have a happy Wax Wednesday. Take care, everybody.